Eugen Blass has been battling the HIV virus for more than 20 years. He has had to change his medication several times when it suddenly stopped being effective. This can create huge problems, especially if there are unpleasant side effects.
Naturally, organs that have been fed medication for 20 years store certain poisons that can be damaging. And each time a new medicine is introduced, in my case it happened about 4 or 6 weeks ago, I now take 3 extra tablets. That's the moment when you ask yourself, goodness me, how much longer will this go on? Have I already reached my last turn? Or will I be lucky enough to go another 2 or 3 rounds?
Each new diagnosis by his doctor could mean a death sentence for Eugen Blass. Has the HIV virus in his body changed so much that medicines have ceased to have an effect? Has it become resistant? His doctor has about 20 active substances at his disposal that he is able to combine. At the Max Planck Institute for Computer Sciences and Information Technology in Saarbrücken, Thomas Lengauer hopes to help the doctors finding the right combination. He knows from computer data how dangerous the HIV virus is.
With every unsuccessful antiviral therapy, the virus becomes a bit more of a criminal. It's something we call universal criminality. The virus starts by breaking into cars and later turns into a terrorist. And this progress gradually happens to individual patients, so that when a patient undergoes a long period of therapy, it becomes increasingly difficult to find something new, which unfortunately also applies to the entire population.
Thomas Lengauer's team has developed a powerful computer that is able to record changes in the virus. Using mathematical processes, they hope to find the most effective medication. They feed the system continuously with new data, the genes of the various viruses and their reaction to the medication. Because there are so many variations, there's a tremendous flood of data. Doctors all over the world can consult the free service on an internet site. They simply enter the genes of their patient's virus and in return get advice on which medication the virus is resistant to.
So you can see here, the ones that no longer work because the virus is resistant in patients are marked in red. Yellow is for medicines that may still work, and green is for medicines that are still effective. So here we have an example of a patient who no longer has many options for therapy.
Jetzt holen wir einen Kohlenstoff und bauen den auch noch dran.
The scientists also use three-dimensional models to test the chemical reactions of the agents.
Das Spezielle an dem Medikament ist,
und das ist jetzt fertig,
das fertige Medikament, genau.
In the laboratory, virologists are working on how these substances function in reality. These dark clusters show that the virus has killed the cells. But in another sample, the agent is able to protect the cells, and this is what they look like when they are healthy. This knowledge has allowed the researchers in Saarbrücken to develop a program that can look into future developments in viruses. Called decision trees, they branch out like real trees and indicate the likely future development of resistances.
One model with our statistical learning method is that we run the development of the virus explicitly through the computer. We say, assuming the virus mutates in this direction, how resistant is it then? And how resistant is it if it mutates differently? And we take up to a dozen steps into the future to see whether it becomes resistant at some point. And if that's the case, we won't recommend this therapy. Not because the virus is resistant to it now, but because it could become resistant after the next 12 steps.
The computer programmers hope to improve their system even further with the aid of patients' therapy data. So far, the computer is only familiar with the viruses from the laboratory and how they react to the agents. In the case of Eugen Blass, the program has come up with alternative options for therapy. But the final decisions will continue to be made by his doctor. No computer can replace his experience and his familiarity with individual patients. But the program can provide suggestions for the application of the new medical agents. Now Eugen Blass knows that the medication will be able to fight his type of virus for some time to come. Thanks to the researchers in Saarbrücken, the future looks a bit less uncertain than before.
Nein, ich bin gut aufgeklärt von meinem Arzt. Ne? Ich bedanke mich.
Ja, danke auch.
Schönen Tag noch.
Ihnen auch. Wiedersehen.
But the researchers want to take this further. They want to combine their data with individual genetic material from patients like Eugen Blass. Their ultimate aim is to be able to predict the cause of the disease for each individual infected patient.